real question is, why would you want to recommend your clients into the CareStack ecosystem? The questions I would be asking is, what's in it for me, meaning you? And the other question I would ask is, what's in it for your clients? Well, today I will share one little nugget that works very, very well for my enterprise and for our team members. And when it comes to the CareStack platform, we've been utilizing it for over 4 years. And I got to say, it's definitely come a long way. But the purpose of our conversation today is if I could give you just one nugget of why we use CareStack, of what our WIFM is, the what's in it for me portion, is treatment planning and the speed of treatment planning. And if that alone was the only benefit that we got out of CareStack, that in itself gives me a reason to use it, gives your clientele a reason to want to use it. Hello, my name is Sasha, and I am the CEO and one of 2 principals of TLC.Dental. We have 7 strategically located practices in Broward County, seeing an average of about 1,050 patients a week, and we provide all dental services, everything from pedo to adult to specialty, and we pretty much cover all the specialties. As a matter of fact, in Q1 of 2023, we treatment planned over 930 implant cases. Of those 930 plus implant cases, 438 of them have already been completed. On a side note, I've become a bit of a super fan after using CareStack for over 4 years. Why? Well, my team loves it. It's easy to use. It's easy to onboard new team members. The patients love it because of all the functionality. And from a business perspective, it's made us so much more efficient, allowing us to capitalize on the technologies. And when you have a business that runs smoothly, when you have employees that are happy, it creates happy patients, which creates referrals, which creates a business that's highly sustainable as well. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, these are radiographs of my own mouth. So I'm not just a consultant for Straumann, I'm a patient too. And having worked with multiple implant companies and learning what I've learned over the last 2 decades, Straumann is the only implant I would ever place in my own mouth. Proof is in the pudding. I would like to discuss just briefly some of the complexities of insurance. At TLC.Dental, we take over 765 different variations of insurance. Now imagine being the treatment planner at the front desk. Every insurance plan may have different pricing, different eligibility, different frequencies, depending on how often you've done something and when you did it. How much is it? Will it cover it? What's the copay? What's the out-of-pocket? By the way, if I keep going on and on, I'm probably going to put all of you to sleep, which is not my intention. Take this into consideration. 65%, that's right, 65% of patients that walk into a practice, and this is according to the ADA, are scared, nervous, or apprehensive when they're coming into the clinic. Now imagine that in itself, how it's going to impact treatment planning. Let's have a quick conversation on treatment planning. Now, if we define treatment planning as dollars presented versus dollars accepted, and that's kind of how the ADA measures treatment acceptance, and I think we could all agree that 99% of recommended dental treatment is necessary. There is that small 1% that is cosmetic, but not necessarily clinically necessary. But what would you guess the treatment acceptance is in the United States? For example, for every $1,000 presented, what percentage actually is said yes to by the patients? Now, most doctors out there will tell you 80%, 60%, 75%, but here's the reality, 24.8%. And that number has barely changed in 20 years. I want you to think about that. 24.8% of patients say yes to treatment. That's like having a restaurant and 1 out of 4 people that come in order, the rest of them just sit there and waste the chair time, waste the staff's time, and cost money. Now, I say this with pride, but our treatment acceptance at TLC, and this is across the board, everything from specialty to general dentistry, is a little bit over 50%. Prior to CareStack, our treatment acceptance, I think, is still something to have been proud of, was about 40%. But I think one of the biggest differences is the speed to getting treatment planned and to presenting it to the patient. Now, because of the convenience of CareStack and the fact that it only takes roughly about 2 minutes, now there are some exceptions to that rule, but in general it takes us about 2 minutes to come up with a treatment plan. Once the actual treatment is entered in the back by the dental assistant or the doctor, that patient experience is so much better. Now, earlier we discussed the complexities of treatment planning. I'm not going to go through that again, but think about the time suck that is. Think about the number of staff members that are needed just to do that. You know, what really astounds me is how some of these dental practices even get things done when you think about how long it takes to treatment plan. And when I look at numbers, and I'm going to use TLC as a very, very clear example, now because of the convenience of CareStack and the fact that it only takes roughly about 2 minutes, now there are some exceptions to that rule, but in general it takes us about 2 minutes to come up with a treatment plan. Once the actual treatment is entered in the back by the dental assistant or the doctor, that patient experience is so much better. Now think about what it's like for our team members. They're not frustrated, they're not aggravated because it's taking so long. A patient's leaning over them, asking them what's taking so long and saying, how much? So what is that experience like now for my employees? What is that experience like now for our patients? And by the way, that patient experience, do you think that leads to recommendations and referrals from our patients to their friends and to their family? So let's talk about some questions that you would typically get from your prospective clients. One of the most common ones is, how much does it cost? And I would say to you, how much is it costing them because of how long it takes them to do things right now? How much is it costing them in staff time? How much is it costing them in lost patients? How much is it costing them in treatment that is not accepted? That's where the real cost is. The success of treatment planning alone is one of the biggest values that we have from CareStack, not to mention hundreds and hundreds of others. But I go back to, if you can make your employees happy by making their life easier, if you can lower their workload, think about the impact that that has on the patient experience. And when a patient can have a treatment plan minutes later, not 10, 20, or 30 minutes later, what does that do for treatment acceptance? I cannot reiterate to you enough the value that CareStack has brought to us, the simplicity and the patient experience. And I'll leave you with this. When we first started utilizing CareStack, in those same locations, we were seeing roughly about 600 to 650 patients a week. Now, with fewer team members, we're seeing over 1,050 patients a week. It's been a wonderful experience for us, and one of the things that I love to see is that they're continuously improving, asking us for feedback on the software, and streamlining it to make it easier for everyone to use. Thank you for your time, and thank you for what you do and the difference that you make in other people's lives.